Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is going on, Birdland? Stephen Heckman here for the Final Strike, coming to you with a special edition after the trade deadline has officially ended, and the Baltimore Orioles have made some shocking moves that has left Birdland scratching its head, calling for Mike Elias' head, and waiting to torch him in the streets of Baltimore. Charm City is definitely not happy, and it comes with some moves that actually have people really upset with the direction the Baltimore Orioles are going, especially only being 2.5 games out of the wild card with 49 games left to play. It was a very busy day on the trade circuit with many teams being involved in quite a bit. The AL East was quite busy. Surprisingly, every team was involved in a trade or two, if not more. The Baltimore Orioles were very active this trade deadline. Even though Mike Elias said they weren't sure if they were going to be buyers or sellers and possibly could stand pat, the Baltimore Orioles became sellers really fast. Of course, we do know that we got rid of Dean Kramer earlier in the week when we sent him to the Minnesota Twins. A lot of people weren't too upset about that. I, for one, was kind of upset. Guy was a decent fourth, fifth starter, pushed into different roles for the team, asked to do more than he should have. Unfortunately, he did the best he could. The guy pitched 707 innings since 2020 for a fourth starter, and going 42 and 44 over that time frame for us. You really can't ask for better than that from a fourth, fifth back end starter. You know, being asked to fill in as a number 2 and a number 3 starter when he definitely was not that. He pitched us into some big games, clinched the division for us, clinched the postseason for us. In 2023. So sad to see him go, but I wish him better luck. He is in the thick of a playoff race over in Minnesota. So if the return for him is anything that speculation that they're saying he's going to be, you got a kid who possibly could be the next Raul Mondesi. And if anybody remembers Raul Mondesi from back in the day when he was with the Dodgers, guy had a cannon for an arm, could hit you 20, 25 home runs. Definitely was a smart baseball player, and you could slot him into right field daily without worrying about if he was going to get injured. Moving on, the Baltimore Orioles then proceeded to wake the world up by sending Tyler Ward over to Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners, who acquired Taylor Ward. Still not sure what their thought process was here. Taylor Ward was leading the Baltimore Orioles with walks in 87. Definitely not a bad thing. We got Taylor Ward for basically a pitcher with an injury history. Pulled the fleece over the Angels GM by asking him not to, look at any medicals and just accept the trade, which he did. He figured we would get an expiring contract from the Angels, and Taylor Ward would fill in for left field for us for a year, and that would be that. Now, Taylor Ward was coming off a 30 home run season with the Los Angeles Angels. He has hit 8 home runs for the Baltimore Orioles. The biggest problem with Taylor Ward is when it came time to come up big in big game situations, the guy just did not produce. It got to the point with him at bats, he was just looking for walks and would watch strikes go straight down the middle of the plate, strike out way too often. I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to harsh or mellow there for anything about him, but I still don't understand what the thought process of the Seattle Mariners is, because it is not a hitter-friendly park. You're not going to get him driving out the ball into the outfield for a home run. Yes, he can play a pretty solid defense in the outfield, but I don't know, unless they're planning on leading him off, you're really off basis here on what your plan and go-to is with this. So, we got decent return for him, 3 prospects. So when you look at it, we got rid of an injury-plagued pitcher for a half a season rental in which we returned 3 prospects in the process for. So not too bad. Okay, so 2 trades. We get send 2 players out, we get 4 prospects. So far, not bad. Then the one that actually shook the bell in Birdland and Charm City was Adley Rutschman was traded to the Boston Red Sox. Yes. Mike Elias' very first pick, the cornerstone of what was going to be the rebuild of the franchise, the face of the franchise going forward, was going to lead us into the postseason and beyond. Good things were going to come, yada, yada, yada. We all sat around waiting for it. Never happened. We did go to the postseason twice with him. Did not win a playoff game. Baltimore is fortunately 0-10 in their last 10 playoff games. It just never happened. I love Adley Rutschman. Do not get me wrong. I like the guy. Good switch hitter, good defensive catcher. But in the last 14 months, you're talking 5 IL stints. 5. Last year you had oblique strains on both sides of the stomach. This year you get ankle inflammation, concussion, wrist inflammation. Anybody who has played sports before, I'm sorry. I truly am sorry. And I'm really not trying to talk ill will of Adley Rutschman because he really was a fan favorite. He did a lot for the community. He did a lot for the Orioles. He was kind of a silent on the field leader in the locker room. The players loved him. So I'm not trying to talk ill will, but if anybody is anybody who ever played sports, inflammation of the wrist. Okay. Now, I played center, I played quarterback, I played guard, I played linebacker, I played tight end, I played, safety, I've pitched, I've played every position in the baseball diamond except catcher in a game. I've played it in practice. Inflammation in your wrist or your ankles requires usually 3 days minimum rest. You get treatment, you get ice, you're back playing ball. I mean, come on now. Biggest thing I'm taking out of this is I really do believe he was put on the IL to save him from getting injured at all so we could trade him. And here's where this goes. And I want to thank Ryan Ripken for this because he actually confirmed something I said when I was on TikTok Live earlier talking about Adley Rutschman trade. I said that Adley Rutschman, one of the reasons that I think we acquired Rogers from the Tigers, which we traded along with Adley Rutschman, mind you. One of the reasons we acquired Rogers from the Tigers is we had been negotiating with Adley Rogers on a long-term contract for quite some time. Okay. It had come out right before we traded for Rogers that the financial aspect of the contract is where the sticking point was. Wasn't the number of years, it was the financial aspect. All right. And that started to get the wheels grinding in my head. It's like, okay, well, if yours isn't a problem, it's just the financial basis. What are we asking for here? We're talking about a 28-year-old catcher who had at that point had 3 stints on the IL already. He basically was slowly not becoming an everyday catcher. You also had your catcher of the future locked up for 8 years, who himself was not an everyday catcher. They formed one of the top catching tandems in the league. Tops in OPS, in the top 3 in batting average, tops in RBIs, tops in defensive runs saved. I mean, you name it, these guys were within the top 5 in almost every offensive and defensive category. I digress, though. Shortly after the Rogers trade, I started to hear rumblings that Adley Rutschman had said he was not going to re-sign with the Baltimore Orioles, regardless of what was offered. Now, what warranted this, I am not sure. Are these rumors true? I cannot 100% say. But Ryan Ripken posted on X today, so I want to thank him for putting this out there because it just makes me look more reliable with me saying what I said on TikTok Live. That actually, I'll even read you exactly what he said, just because it kind of just rehashes what I had said on TikTok Live when I told everybody the same thing. I had heard rumblings from a few different sources that Adley Rutschman wasn't going to re-sign with the Baltimore Orioles. And, those are the things that had me wondering what was going to be the issue going forward. And, I kind of have to take it as it comes because what caused it? Was it, were they putting too much investment in Samuel Basallo? Was the club not in the direction that um they wanted him to go? I mean, really, what was it? What caused the disconnect that Adley Rutschman was so hell bent of not signing with the Baltimore Orioles? And, it does. It makes you wonder why and where this is coming from because you see something like that and you basically want to question everything. You really want to question why in the world would somebody who the fans adore, the fans love, and the team invested so heavily in making sure this guy was the face of the franchise, and that I know the pressure was put on him to be, the golden child going forward. But I mean, seriously, why would it get to the point that this wasn't it? And this is Adley Rutschman isn't even a Scott Boras agent. So that's what makes it more interesting is Adley Rutschman was not a Scott Boras agent and still was not willing to sign with the Baltimore Orioles. Unfortunately, I can't find it. Anyway, but it had come out that he had no intention of resigning with the Baltimore Orioles. Now, if there is no baseball next season, which it's looking more and more likely that's going to happen, especially with the way the surplus of what the Dodgers are doing, you look at it this way. Adley Rutschman's a free agent after the 2027 season. So with no baseball next season, basically the Red Sox get, a half-year rental. They also get another catcher. We got a catcher in return plus 3 prospects, and one of those prospects is actually slotted in number 1 in our system already. So there you go. We got their first, their fourth, their first, their fifth, and their 17th ranked prospect. Player to be named in cash. We traded 2 prospects or we traded 2 catchers in the deal and cash as well. So that's what happened. Now, I know it's hard as an Orioles fan to sit there and see that, but when you look at the return and the possibility of what can happen with these players, and I know every draft pick is a gamble. Now, I love Adley Rutschman. Do not get me wrong. I'm not talking ill will of the guy because I appreciate everything he did as a Baltimore Oriole, but 5 IL trips in 14 months is a red flag. 2, him not wanting to return to the Baltimore Orioles. This was the best market you were going to get for catchers this year, especially with the higher priority catchers hurt. You had to take what you could get for him. 3, doing it now before the lockout was probably your best bet. And last but not least, if he's not going to be around to see what the rest of this is going to turn out to be, then that's it. It's time to go. We have other eggs in the basket we got to worry about. You got Colton Cowser, you got Jordan Westbrook, you got Jackson Holliday, you got Gunnar Henderson. I mean, we locked up Bradish, we locked up Boz, we've locked up Cano and Basallo, and you've got Pete Alonso locked up. So we got to look at what it's going from here. As people started looking further into the Adley Rutschman trade and seeing what happened, the one thing that got everybody upset the most, though, was when it came out that Tyler Wells was traded once again to another AL East rival, the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, for many of us, we don't mind doing too much business with the Tampa Bay Rays because out of our division, that's the one team that we kind of like to root for if we're not playing. They're scrappy like us. They're managed a little bit better. But the Tyler Wells deal hurt. Now we are getting Fournette back, and he was the player we traded away in the Shane Baz deal. So we're getting a good player back in the process. But once again, we have no closer right now. Bautista's out. He just started playing pitching live batting practice. Helsley's still out. He just started playing catch. So he's not even moved to facing live batters yet. Honestly, if we see Helsley the rest of the season, I would not be surprised. But we traded away 4 players who have contributed mightily to us over the last 4 seasons. Now this goes back to where we were a couple weeks ago when we had Zachary on here, or Zach Bucklow on here, where I once again said Elias might be up front with what's going on in the aquariums or with the aquarium and everything. But are we sure 100% that he's the one actually running the show? Because some of these moves just seem a little bit un-Elias like. Do you know what I mean? I don't know any better way to say it, but they do. They seem kind of un-Elias like. It's like the draft seemed un-Elias like. We drafted more pitchers than position players. And when you see something like that, you have to question, is Elias actually changing his philosophy, or is somebody else changing it for him, or is somebody else completely doing it themselves? And that's going to be the interesting thing to see going forward is the trades have happened. We can't reverse them. I mean, Major League Baseball can, but we can't reverse them. So what are we going to do? We're going to hopefully cheer for our team and hope they can make it to the postseason with the moves that have been made and who we call up. I would expect to see Heston Kjerstad called up, although I really don't think we need it because between Leody Tavares, Colton Cowser, Tyler O'Neill, and Dylan Beavers, I think that's enough to cover the outfield. Plus, you have Jeremiah Jackson who can play the outfield in a pinch. You have Encarnacion Stanton and Mayo who can play third. You have Gunnar Henderson slotting at short. You got Holiday and Jeremiah Jackson at second, and both of them can play third, and both of them can play short. You have Alonso slotted in at first, which you have Baseo who can actually play up as well, or play first as well. And then, of course, you have Baseo and Navarro's who we traded for as catcher. So we've got the depth. I mean, I saw somebody say maybe bring Creed Williams up. He's not ready for face Major League yet. Plus, he's only played 25, 30, 40 games at catcher this year. Been platooning between first base, DH, and catcher all year. So I don't think he's quite ready for that. Baseo was a different type of talent and a different type of gun. So we'll see what happens from there going forward. But anyway, Birdland, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of what happened today with the Orioles and the trades. Take a look at them really close, honestly. Don't just, look at the player and your heart's hurt and, decide that, that's the end. You hate Mike Elias, you hate the Baltimore Orioles, you're done with them. Really look at the trade, look at the returns, and, see. Because I tell you what, we got a hell of a haul for Adley. We got a decent haul for Ward, especially with how we got Ward and what we turned Ward into for the return now. I definitely would say that's something y'all need to take a look at. And even, take a look at the kid that we got from the Twins, the outfielder. And, getting 4 at bat, he's a pretty good pitcher. So, we might have picked up a big amount of prospects package-wise, and we might not have brought in anybody that's going to help us immediately. But at the same time, we have players who can help us immediately already in the organization. Keep that in mind. And, Bassett should be back in the rotation soon. We might see Heston, who's been heating up in AAA, and Baseo is going to be back soon. So we're going to see what happens. 2.5 games out, we still have the talent to compete, and we still have the players available to compete going forward. So, barring any health concerns, it's still a wide open race, and we're still there. So, let me know what you think. Reach out to me here. You can always hit my Gmail up, srheckman@gmail.com. You can always hit me up on TikTok or X, formerly of Twitter, formerly Twitter. I can't speak today. Tag handles there on Instagram as well on YouTube is at @srheckman. Find the Final Strike on X at the Final Strike _. Also reach out to the Baltimore Battery, who is the reason we're here. You can find them on X and TikTok at the B More Battery. So don't forget to head over to baltimorebattery.com. Quite a few pieces written in the last few days, quite a few pieces about the trades and the players we got back. things to look for out of these prospects and everything. Some opinion pieces on what's been going on with the Baltimore Orioles. Prospects of the week, the great, the good, and the ugly. Things that might help the Orioles make the playoffs going forward. So, a couple things to look at there. So, check out the BaltimoreBattery.com as well. Don't forget, if you are in the Maryland, Delaware area in need of mobility products such as mobility scooter, electric, manual, or beach wheelchairs, and you can't speak today. Power lift recliners or lift chairs, give Advanced Mobility Solution a call, formerly Scooters for Rent, at 302-280-6203. Tell them Stephen from the Final Strike sent you. They are the sponsors of our show today. And until next time, Birdland, please keep that beer cold. Peace out. And make sure you let me know what you think. I want to know what you're thinking about what happened today. Don't, we're not here to shame Mike Elias and say, hang him from a light pole or a tall oak tree. I want to know what your thoughts are, your true thoughts. Look into the trades, look at the prospects that we got back, and look at their potential, because this is something that has the potential 2 to 3 years from now to be bigger for us than you think. Am I happy about it all? No, but I guarantee if you look into it, you might see more than you think. So until next time, Berlin, keep that beer cold. Don't forget, keep rooting for the O's. We always need the cheering. And until next time, Berlin, peace out.